Hey everyone, this is Jade from ShutUpAndRockOn.com, and I am sitting here at Turning Stone Casino with the great Mark Kendall of Great White. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. And if you guys don't know, Mark is an original member of Great White, so he's been here through the ups and the downs and the good and the bad. But first, we're going to talk about your life because I read that you come from a very musical family.
Yeah.
Like your whole parents and everything was musicians.
Right. Well, my dad was a jazz trumpet player, and my mom, she was a real good singer, but never went on tour or made records or anything. She used to sing with my dad on the breaks, like with piano players and stuff. And she died in 2010. But before she died, I took her up north. My friend has a studio up there, and we hired a piano player. And we made a CD and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was real sweet. She loved it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how did that influence you, like, when you were younger? Were you, like, a musician as a child, like, in school and stuff?
Well, it definitely influenced me in the sense that we had music going in the house all the time.
Yeah.
So I used to sit by this, like, it was like a piece of furniture called the hi-fi, okay, and played records.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to sit and listen and sing along because they had a lot of, kind of classics going on, like Girl from Ipanema. And I just loved the melody, so I would just listen to the singers. Even when I turned 9 years old and got my first guitar, I, kind of learned chords and stuff. But when I listened to, like, Hendrix, Cream, The Doors, I just sang along. I didn't even hear the drums, the bass, the guitar, nothing except the singer. So I love the melodies, That's probably why I play the way I do, because I love melody so much. I'm like the melody man, So I just love, good melodies.
Like the melody man, Mark Kendall. So that's going to be your new name. So tell me about the formation of Great White, because I know it was like kind of a long process to finally get to the point where you're like, oh, we're Great White now, because you had different names and it started in the 70s, and a lot of people don't know that you guys technically started that long ago.
I met Jack Russell. He actually auditioned for my band.
Yeah, it took a bunch
and we decided to make our own band because he goes, like, if you get rid of that fat guy and the guy with the mustache, he goes, let's make our own band. And I go,
it's like Kiss when
I'm
they leave and
totally
they
into
Kiss.
it. I go, I'm totally into it. I'm totally over this band.
Oh
and so we kind of made our own band. And then he got in some trouble.
He did.
And actually went to, like, teenager prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he got in all this trouble, and he was sentenced to like 8 years or something. So I'm going, okay, I got to start a new band.
Yeah, I read that.
So, and I started a new band, called it Dante Fox, had a chick singer.
Yeah.
The chick singer went to George Lynch eventually. He stole her. He actually apologized. He apologized to me like 6 months ago.
That's
after all these years. Yeah.
I took your singer back in the
Yeah, he was so funny. He's like, hey, man, sorry for stealing your singer. But anyway, so that was kind of a joke. But then we got another singer. And then Jack got out of prison early, so we auditioned him. We loved him, and that's how the band got started. This member and that member kind of left along the way. But so when we got a record deal, the bass player was only in the band 3 weeks at that time.
Yeah.
And the drummer was only in the band for like a year, because our original drummer was Tony Richards, who went off and joined Wasp.
Oh, yeah.
After he left our band. So we had pretty much a new drummer and bass player and then we changed the name to Great White.
And I read that when Jack entered the band after leaving prison, that it was like a 2-to-1 vote to get him back. Is that true? Who was the one?
I was totally into him. We had a singer that was great. I mean, he could sing as high as the sky, but it was more like a Judas Priest kind of voice.
I read that.
Yeah, he sounded like Halford, like perfectly. Cool. So I liked Jack. Don Costa, who was the bass player at the time, he liked him. Our drummer wanted to keep Butch.
Okay.
He goes, Butch is pretty good, man. And we go,
Was it a different style than what you wanted? Because, like, if you have a Priest singer in Great White, like, now that I hear the Great White songs, I feel like it would make sense.
Jack could do kind of anything, to where this guy was more one-dimensional.
Like
It was just like, Priest, the end. You know what I mean?
Yes. So you wanted him back in the group. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And you guys have like 2 albums out, I believe. Yeah, 2 albums out before you start gaining popularity with Once Bitten and subsequently Twice Shy. Why do you think it took a couple records to start gaining momentum? Because
Sure.
yeah.
Well, on we're talking about Judas Priest. We did an EP.
Yes.
It was 5 songs on one side, same 5 on the other.
Okay.
And it was actually Michael Wagner who produced that 5-song EP. We got airplay. We didn't have a record deal, but we got airplay on the biggest stations in Los Angeles, which was
like
KMET and KLOS.
Yeah.
So, and we were unsigned basically, so people really didn't understand it, and neither did we.
That's like a big thing to be unsigned to get radio play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you're in like in heavy rotation and you're just a local band. So that got the attention of big labels, and we ended up signing. Did a full album with Wagner again, producing, and then we went on tour with Whitesnake in Europe, in the UK for, I think we did 20-some shows, and then we got the Judas Priest tour in the States. So we did this big long tour for like 6 months.
That's an interesting tour, Judas Priest and Great White.
Yeah. Well, it fit then because our music was a lot heavier.
It was.
Because we were younger, we were trying to be Priest, basically. And, you know, so we did that tour and we came home. We didn't sell enough records to get the company excited, so we parted ways. So then our second album, which again we released on our own.
Shot in the Dark?
Yeah, Shot in the Dark. And we got a marginal hit with Face the Day. And that was enough to get the attention of another major label, which was Capitol, and we got our second chance.
Very nice.
And that's when we came with Rock Me and all that.
So, like, did the label tell you, like, you have to kind of be more commercial?
No, it was actually our manager that kind of, he just brought our influences out. Because I was influenced by, you know, more of the blues side of music.
I hear that a lot with guitarists. Like,
yeah, like I was into Clapton and, you know, just more people that played from the heart and all that. Yeah, but we were trying to be Judas Priest when we were younger.
Yeah.
We just wanted. They were kind of a band that was like under the radar. They weren't really famous yet, so you're cool. If
there was still New Wave of British
If you
Heavy
even
Metal,
know them,
overseas.
Yeah, if you even know them, you're cool, right? So them and the Scorpions were another under the radar, but they were bigger in Europe.
For sure.
So we wanted to be more like that, and so we actually forced it. Our manager heard me playing in between songs and just goofing around in the studio. And I think that's what he wanted me to be doing because that's what I'm playing when I'm not forcing myself to play whatever. So he was the master at extracting my influences.
Okay.
And everyone's actually, and that's what kind of reshaped the band. Yeah.
Because I was gonna ask, like, looking at the initial 4 releases, so the whole '80s releases, which ones are your favorite? The ones when you were kind of Judas Priestier, or kind of which you are, Great Whiteier?
I think when we really felt like comfortable in the zone was Rock Me.
Rock Me.
When we heard that back over the speakers in the studio, we're going, this is what we've got to do. We have to do this stuff. This is where I play my best when I'm playing that kind of music, and it just everything I grew up. The reason I play guitar. Is that type of stuff. So it was just natural.
Now tell me about touring, because you guys did a lot of great tours with Bon Jovi and Dokken, et cetera, et cetera. So how was touring back then? Just a party?
We were never home. I mean, literally, I watched my kids grow up on videotapes.
That's crazy.
You know, rarely got to see them. So it's part of the compromise you have to make. You know, you got the big dream. You want to go on tour. You want to sell millions. And
when did you have kids? Like at the height? When you were?
Yeah, when you know, around, let's see, early 90s.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you guys were big.
So that's when it kind of started.
Twice Shy was 89, so about that.
You know, we just were touring all the time, and you know, you're pretty much away from everyone because our tours are like 11 months, and then we wouldn't even go home. We'd go straight on to another one.
Yeah.
You know, so. It was pretty crazy. A lot of just keeping on the road, and we go home, and then it was make another record.
Yeah, just
basically.
do it all over again.
Wash your Levi's and go. You
go
know,
back out.
Ride the wave until it crashes in the shore.
Until it fades. Yep. And so, I've got to ask, are you sick of Once Bitten, Twice Shy yet?
Actually, I'm not sick of any of our old stuff, only because it's a different audience every night. That makes it a different reaction. They still go crazy. So, but at the same time, when I say that, we do like to keep making new music, just so we don't fall into the oldies band category. You know, just go out every year and play Once Bitten, Twice Shy, and you know, you know.
Because I'm sure that's the song like I feel like Great White is most known for, that to a degree, anyways. And like even my parents, they're like, they know the song because I've played it so many times. Like, that's the Great White song.
Sure,
so that's how I feel like everyone identifies you. So
that happens. Like, that happens a lot to bands. It happens so bad to some bands that people don't even know who the band is.
I know, just the one song. And
it's like, just the song dwarfs the band. It becomes... I had a guy in front of me one time. I've told this story before, but this guy was in front of me at a record store when they used to have them.
Yeah. And
he goes, I want that Once Bitten, Twice Shy band. He did not know. The guitar player standing behind him, and he didn't even know. He just that song. I want that song. Were
you like, hey, that's my band?
I didn't bother. I didn't want to embarrass him.
And so you, Great White leaves Capitol Records in like 92, 93. What led to that split? Was it just the scene changing?
What led to it? We knew in advance the guy that signed the band that was from EMI America, Gary Gersh, was going to become the president of Capitol. Okay. So we knew he was going to drop us because he had a vendetta.
Was it a vendetta against you guys?
Totally. Because here he failed and didn't do the artist development thing and let us continue. And even though we didn't sell 1 million records, our first one, usually they'll work with you. You know, they'll, okay, well, they sold 100,000 this time. Let's get them up to 2 or whatever, you know. And that's the way normally major labels worked back then. They had A&R guys, they had songwriters. You know, they do whatever they could to get the maximum out of their bands. And so by him failing, and then we go to Capitol and we become huge, it pissed him off. So we knew in advance. So we got a buyout.
Burned down.
Yeah, we just got a lot of money and just left and went to another label because we knew he was going to drop us.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy that they can just do that. Like, if he really wanted to, just buy off the
label. A lot of egos, man. A lot of egos. And there's not one story out there from any band has a story where they're getting ripped off or, you know.
I know.
There's always a hard luck story. I just watched this Chicago documentary, and they were getting stripped from their publishing and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and every band has a story like that because when you first get signed, you don't care. You just all I know is
it's exciting.
Yeah, I'm out of the clubs. I'm going to be playing arenas now, and you know, I'll sign anything.
I know when you're like blinded by all the excitement, you don't really read the fine print.
Then 10 years later, you're dead broke. You sold 20 million records, and you know, and you're going, God, I can't pay my rent. You know, it's because you're making a bunch of people rich. You know.
Yeah, not yourself. So in 2000, you announced a hiatus from Great White, and everyone kind of does their own thing. Jack attempts to continue with Great White and stuff. What are you doing during your hiatus period, the first one?
Well, the first thing I did, I just took some time off.
Yeah.
And then I was going to make a solo band, and I was writing with this guy, but he sang so good that I just kind of made a band, you know, just wrote all the songs. I just controlled everything, you know. I was just like... But I couldn't really call it a solo band because I wasn't singing.
Exactly, it's kind of weird.
So this guy was in a band called Graveyard Train on Geffen.
Okay.
A guy named Todd Griffin actually, and so we went out. We played about 20 shows, and I was kind of over it because one of the guys was in Eric Clapton. So I figured, you know, these guys have done it before. They've been on the road.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not dealing with green people. The singer's been on the road with this band.
Yeah.
And these guys are doing things that, like, I would never do. They were so unpro. I mean, I was willing to, like, throw amps in the back of pickup trucks and go to the gig and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't care about that. But these guys are, like, mingling, you know, out in the crowd 5 minutes before we're going on stage and stuff. It's just totally non-pro. And I'm going, after a while, I was just over it.
Yeah.
And so then I made my own solo band. You know, I did a solo album, and while I was on that tour, Jack was on the road with his solo. He had a solo
Was
album.
that still like Great White or Jack Russell's Great White?
No, it was just Jack Russell.
Okay.
It was just Jack Russell. He called it the For You tour. That was the name of his album.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had these band guys. I didn't know any of them. One guy, this Ty Longley, who actually perished in the fire in Rhode Island, said he met me when he was 15 and he was a big fan or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. But he was a super guy. But so Jack's manager had called me, and I was opening for this guy called Johnny Highland from Nashville.
Yep.
And we did about 8 shows with him. And I was home on a break, and I got a call from his manager saying that his tour was doing horrid, and he couldn't sell tickets. He did this great album.
I read that.
But it was so far removed from Great White, the fans kind of...
They couldn't connect with it.
They couldn't connect. It was almost nudging Elevator, you know. But it was, I'm telling you, it was a great record.
Yeah.
But he called and asked if I'd go out so they could play like half Great White and half his songs, just so they could get some of the Great White element in there. And that's when the accident happened in Rhode Island or whatever. Yeah, it was brutal.
I was going to ask, like, do you, because you're technically in Jack's band at that time because you went out with him again.
Yeah, I was a side man. They just paid me by the week.
Okay.
You know, and I committed to 4 weeks. I said, because I still have my solo thing. I'll go out and do this for a while, but I can't like leave for 6 months or anything, you know. So I was out for 4 weeks, and they had this little sparkle thing. I thought it was a bit cheesy.
Yeah.
I mean, Great White has never used it because...
That's why I was talking to my friends. I was like, did Great White ever use pyro?
No, we've never used it before. Only because we're not like the spectacle Kiss type act. You know, we're not going to go out, blow shit up, and then play Once Bitten, Twice Shy. Go to Once Bitten, Twice Shy, right? You know, so we've just never been that kind of band. But it wasn't so much that he was using that. It was more of the cheesiness of it in a club because it's so...
I get it. You don't really see pyro
we're not like
often.
You know, it's kind of lowering the bar, if you will, to be using
it's gimmicky.
Trying to be the the Kiss band in the clubs, but
gimmick.
So whatever. But anyways, yeah. So that's that story.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, do you regret joining forces with Jack for be it a brief period of time?
Obviously, I regret that they had the pyro thing because it caused a huge accident. But I know that the stuff was safe. They proved it to me. But even though I didn't care because I saw Jack standing in it. The opening act was filming us, and I go, that doesn't hurt, dude. You're like standing right in this shit. And he's like, no, man, it's cold sparks. It doesn't do anything. And I go, oh, cool. Well, at least I know that. I go, but make sure the manager tells me he used to check this box because it kind of startles you. You're standing there, all of a sudden you go like that. Just let me know, then I know to expect it. But all good.
All good. Yeah. Good. And so then like the fire happens, and then there's another like brief hiatus, and then Great White kind of reforms again in like 2006.
Yeah.
With Jack.
That was we just I lived pretty close to him, and we just thought it'd be a good time. We'd been away from it for a long time. Michael Lardy had been a night ranger for like 4 years. I'd been off doing my solo thing. I did another album. And we hadn't seen each other for a long time. Audie hadn't seen in a long time. We decided it'd be cool to, get it back together and do a record.
Okay, yeah, because that was going to be my thing. Like, what prompted the sudden reunion after
2000, yeah, reunion, exactly.
And then some stuff goes down. Jack leaves the band again, and you have Jani Lane.
That was in, like, 2000.
Like,
10?
Jani sings in 2010.
Was when he started getting sick and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we got.
And then Jani was in 2010.
Jani Lane. Jani Lane came out. He was totally prepared. His wife told me that for 2 weeks straight, Great White was playing everywhere he went. In his car, in the house.
Why do you get Jani? Like, how does that happen?
Well, he was with our management company.
Okay.
So our manager managed him, his solo career. And he just suggested it. And so he did about, I think, 10 shows. And I was actually working with him. I started this, like, support group online for alcoholic addicts or whatever. Just kind of
Cool.
reached out on Facebook, and they call it 12-stepping. I just,
the
all I
program.
offered was my sober friendship,
Yeah.
you know, so, and people started coming going, yeah, I'm hurting, man, and this and that, and developed. Now I got 94 people. It started with one guy.
Yeah.
Well, I was working with Jani Lane. We talked every day, sent him prayers and meditation.
That's nice.
And I remember him looking so good, singing, like the fans were saying he sounds better than he has in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's doing real good. He's looking good, you know. And he was doing wonderfully. And I go, well, you know, like, what's wrong with this dude? I go, you know, you're looking great. You're singing great. Your wife's beautiful. Everything's
Yeah.
wonderful. And he just said, it's the demons. It's like the voices.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, I'm good if I'm going, got my wife with me, and I'm out doing this, you know, with you guys.
It's when you're alone and everything.
When you're alone
just
and everything
hits you.
stops.
Yep.
Then the voices start going, go ahead, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like, go out and just have a couple drinks or whatever.
Breaks my heart.
And that's, he really had a difficult time.
Mhm.
And the next thing I hear, he died. I couldn't believe it.
That's crazy, especially since you literally had just worked with him.
Yeah,
too.
because,
Like,
I mean,
so close together.
literally, you know, we always wanted to go back to Terry because Janie was pretty much doing Jack Russell like perfect, you know.
Yeah.
And we weren't really looking for a clone. That's why we liked Terry so much. And anyways, he was just going to do a solo thing or whatever. And the next thing I hear, he died, which even in my worst alcoholic moments, I was kind of a beer drinker, which everyone
was.
they put that low on the
Yeah.
food chain. But I drank a lot of beer, like tons. And, but I could never imagine drinking until I
That
died
sick.
or something.
Yeah.
So when I hear this stuff, it doesn't seem possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if you're just, you know, rolling out of bed and just
And
guzzling
it's also
vodka.
mindset too. I feel like if you don't wake up and like you aren't like excited for life, and then you just start drinking. Like I feel like if you have a purpose behind you and stuff,
Yeah.
then maybe I'm not saying it won't kill you because alcohol is alcohol, and I know how it works and stuff. But like but just his mindset probably wasn't where it should have been.
Yeah,
and led
I
to
mean,
that.
you know, he was fragile, and I just, you know, I felt so horrid. But one thing I had to make myself do was go to his memorial so I could
Oh, yeah.
at least speak
Mhm.
to his fans, to his family, and just let them know that he told me word for word that he wanted to be sober more than anything.
I read that.
More than anything. So I couldn't wait to tell everybody that, just so they know, like, this isn't personal.
Like he didn't plan.
he
like
was
I want to
dealing
die.
with
Yeah.
this evilness and couldn't control it. Some people are like that. There's a scale from 0 to 10. Some people can lose their family, lose homes, their job, maybe have health issues, and they still don't stop.
Oh yeah.
Then you get the guy lower on the scale that gets one DUI and he never drinks
I
again.
know.
You
It's
know what I
crazy.
mean?
Like, Tame Me Down for Faster Pussycat,
Yeah.
when we were all at M3, he couldn't play because he got, like, pneumonia or whatever, and he stopped smoking completely. Like, he got hospitalized, and he's like, I'm
cool.
done. Yeah, so
Good.
it's the spectrum. The opposite people on the spectrum who do that, I guess. But so when does Terry come into play? When do you get him?
Right around 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does that come about? Oh, well.
Through our manager. 5 minutes and then we're meet and greet. Okay.
Cool.
And he come out in 2009, did a great show on the fly, literally learned the songs on an airplane while he had a gig the same day.
Uh-huh.
And we loved it. He just improvised and did a great job.
Very cool.
So we did the Jani Lane thing, and then we wanted to try him again, and he came out and killed it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just kind of went on. And then all of a sudden, you know, because we were waiting for Jack to come back, like, well. We just said, go get well, dude.
Yeah.
You know, he was having a hard time keeping his balance. He was having these minor falls and breaking tons of bones. And
Crazy.
yeah,
I
and
didn't
so
know that.
and people were complaining a little bit about, like, why are we forcing him to sing with us? And we weren't. He wanted to be out there, but he was in a stool and all this stuff, and we just said, go get well, and we'll just have these fill-in singers until
Yeah,
you
'cause
know
had a couple.
you get it
Paul
together.
Sortino for a minute was with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one show with
Yeah, that
Paul.
1 minute.
Yeah,
That's great.
and Paul's a great guy.
Mhm.
But anyway, so Terry had done about over 80 shows, and then all of a sudden we got served with papers. Jack went out and got these cover band dudes and made his own Great White.
Okay.
And so we're going, oh boy, okay. So he's suing us, you know, and he wants to be the band, one person. And so we went through this court thing. We won the rights to the name, and you know, we just kind of moved on. You know, drama free. You know, it's just more enjoyable. We're happy for him. You know, he's out playing too. He made a record, so it's all good. You know, we're happy and stress free, and it's
good. That's how it should be. You know.
It's a great life.
And you guys released a live DVD, the 30-year anniversary, but you don't have Jack singing. Do you think that's like weird, almost, that you don't have the original singer on like the 30-year anniversary DVD?
It is weird. I'm not really that fond of the record anyways. It was kind of done really fast, and we just kind of let it drift away. So, but, you know, the songs have, at that time we couldn't use them. You know,
You're right, actually,
suing us.
Yeah, there was legalities involved in that.
After this court date, man, let's get together.
Yeah.
So it was impossible. Of course, it would be roses if you know, everybody just had their original members forever, and the world was perfect, you know, and all that. But sometimes, you know, and the fans don't understand it. They're going, you know, like, I hope you guys patch it up soon and get back together.
Really
they don't understand. We've never even gotten a fight in our entire 30 years as friends. Not one spat. Yeah. Not even like an argument. We've never. This is more. He went into this dark world, and I couldn't control it. Yeah. And I've dealt with it with other people, not just him, but I've tried to work with guys that just weren't committed. And one thing you can't do, you can't make somebody get sober.
Oh yeah.
It's impossible. Yeah. If they don't want it, you're dealing with the impossible. You know. I mean, I'd love it if everybody out there that was struggling just quit and move to the light. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, but it's frustrating. That's part of that I hate. You know, working with people that are struggling with alcohol, drugs, whatever, that aren't successful. You know, and you put your heart and soul into them, and they don't get it. They don't get well. That's always frustrating.
And I know you've got to get going soon because you have a meet and greet going on. Yeah. But before you go, tell me what you're doing now. I know you guys just had the new album come out not too long ago. Yeah. So tell me about that.
Yeah, we did a new album with Michael Wagner. We called it Full Circle since we hadn't worked with him since our first album. It was an apt title. Yeah. Great album. You know, he just killed it on the production. Always. We had cameras rolling in the studio for 2 months. We hired a big production company just so we could get it all documented, and we included that with the CD. Okay. So it's like a 2-disc set. I decided it would be cool for the fans to go in the studio and watch us record.
I think so.
You know, we've never done that before.
Most people don't get to see that side of the band. They just see the finished product and not everything that goes into it.
But I got the idea because I saw a Deep Purple one, but it was done 25 years after.
Yeah.
And the story was amazing. I didn't know any of this stuff that they recorded in a hotel lobby and
that's how like Kiss was. They did the drum tracks in the bathroom. Like
it was just like crazy.
100%.
So it was fun to, you know, I hope it's fun for the fans to see us. You know, maybe even have a spat or two. You know,
I know
that which usually happens because of a song. It's because two guys aren't thinking quite alike.
On the same
you know, but. Yeah, so that turned out great, and so apart from that, we're just out playing shows and including a couple new ones. You know, not bombarding anybody with new stuff.
You know how that goes. So yeah. So do you have anything coming up that you'd like to talk about in specific?
Well, we're playing in Europe. We're gonna get over there and play a few shows. We got a festival. We're playing actually with Loverboy, who we never ran into in the day, but the past like 5 years we played with them twice. It's just like random. Because they came up a little before us, a couple of years. Yeah. You know, with Turn Me Loose and all that. I used to see them on MTV.
Weekend, that good stuff.
Yeah.
Get lucky.
Yeah, so we're playing with them on one of the days and Vince Neil on another day.
Cool.
So that'll be fun. We're gonna add a few shows around that. And then we're playing Bang Your Head next year. We got the Monsters Rock Cruise again.
Lots of fun.
And that's always fun because the bands just come out of nowhere that I remember from so long, like Raven.
So bad.
I mean,
Raven
just crazy.
Doro's on this one. The lineup's so good. Madam X, like crazy.
Yeah. You know DAD?
Yeah.
That's like one of the best shows I've
They're
ever
on there
seen.
so often. Y&T's on there. Y&T's.
And they should be playing the main stage. They were played a small place, and I'm there with the guys from Y&T, and we're like jaws dropped. I mean, I couldn't believe how good they were live. It was so
you always
good.
see these bands playing these small clubs, and it's like headline.
Well, they're big. They're big
in
Europe. They're big in Europe. They play huge festivals.
That's cool.
They put on a great show.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I went on the internet because I wanted to kind of
The internet.
know more than I'm sleeping the day away. I go, these guys have way deeper stuff than that. Their videos are incredible. Their videos are so funny.
I know. The Monsters Rock always gets the most obscure bands that you kind of forgot existed, but then you're like, oh,
Like Saxon.
shit.
Saxon
I
plays,
saw them
right?
on the last tour.
And I'm going, what?
Amazing.
I go, what? What's that song? And oh, it's off our last record, like from 8 months ago. I'm going, that's a badass song.
The record is so
Something
good.
about bullets. And,
Saxon's latest record is so good. Called Arms, everything that they do is so good.
It's very hip to all the music.
Yeah. very
awesome.
into it. So thank you so much for talking to me. I know you got to get going.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Where can we
Thanks
follow
for
you?
doing this great show, and
Yay.
good to be on your show.
Thank you for letting me do it. Where can we follow you? On Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. You can go to officialgreatwhite.com to find out where we're playing. If we're in your area, you can get our album there.
Cool.
You know, and I'm even on Instagram. You can do a little Snapchatting.
too?
You can
Oh,
Snapchat
man.
me.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Awesome.